Our episodes are brought to you by our awesome EDHCC Club, aka the Patron Pledgehammers. Thank you for making our content possible. If you'd like to support the channel and get some sweet bonuses, check out our Patreon link in the description below. Welcome everyone to episode 210 of EDH Commander Challenge. I'm your host, BT, and a happy Easter weekend to you all. I hope you're doing some form of enjoying some chocolates, opening some packs, and playing some games of EDH. In any order you choose, by the way. Well, let's go ahead and get into today's episode and go check out those opening hands. First, in this corner, with an opening hand of 2 forests, Command Tower, Shaman of Forgotten Ways, Court of Calling, Kamal, Fist of Krosa, Risk the Redeemed, and my Selesnya style general, Farmer Cotton. I am yours truly, the host, BT. Next, in this corner, with an opening hand of a Mountain, Racer's Ring, Reclaim, Explosive Vegetation, Glowcap Lantern, Arnie Metalbrow, Verdant Sun's Avatar, and his Gruul-style general Hans Eriksson. He is the unpredictable Gemi. Gemi won the dice roll to start us off, so let's begin our Easter card fight. For our first turns, Gemi plays Racer's Ring tapped. And I play a forest and cast Risk the Redeemed. Gemi plays a mountain and casts Goblin and Archomancer, while I play an Etchy Forest. Gemi plays another mountain and casts Glowcap Lantern, which he equips to his Goblin. Via its effect, he can now check his top card at all times. Then he moves into combat and attacks and gets to explore via the cap's effect. He reveals Call the Wild, leaving it on top of his deck, and places a +1/+1 counter on his Goblin. I declare no blocks and take 3 damage before Gemi passes. For my turn, I play Command Tower and pass. For Gemi's turn, he casts Explosive Vegetation to net 2 forests from his deck into play tapped. Then he moves into combat and attacks me with his Goblin. Via his cap trigger, he explores, revealing Vigor, which he leaves on top, and places another counter on his Goblin. I declare no blocks and take 4 damage. However, before Gemi passes, I use Risk's effect to make a 1/1 green and white elf creature token. For my turn, I play another forest and am forced to pass again. For Gemi's turn, he casts his general, Hans Eriksson. Then he moves into combat and attacks again with his Goblin. His cap trigger reveals a forest, which goes to his hand via his Explore trigger. I again declare no blocks and take 4 damage. During his second main phase, Gemi plays a forest and casts Call of the Wild. Before Gemi passes, I cast Court of Calling, where X is 3, thanks to my Convoke, and net a Circle of Dreams Druid from my deck into play. For my turn, I play Temple Garden untapped, taking 2 damage, and cast Martial Coup, where X is 6, gaining 6 1/1 soldiers, while all of the creatures get board wiped before I pass. During his upkeep, thanks to his knowledge from his cap, Gemi uses the effect of Call the Wild to reveal his top card, which in this case is Death Leaper Terror Weapon. which comes into play, and I believe gains double strike via its own effect, but let me know in the comments if that's not correct, because I'm not too sure about that. Then during his main phase, he equips the cap to it. He then moves into combat and attacks. With the cap's Explorer trigger, he reveals Rogue's Passage, which goes to his hand. I declare no blocks and take 6 damage before Gemi passes. For my turn, I play a Forest and then move into combat and attack with all my soldier tokens, dealing Gemi 6 damage. Then I cast Seed Spark to destroy the cap. I get 2 1/1 Sapperling tokens as I pay to white. Then I pass. Gemi starts his turn by playing Rogue's Passage and decides to use his Call the Wild effect. In this case, I was thinking his gamble would just fail, but instead he reveals of all things a Tali Primal Storm, which goes into play much to my absolute horror. Gemi moves into combat and attacks with his Death Leaper. I again declare no blocks and take 3 damage before he passes. Given the dire situation for me, for my turn, I have a Heart of the Cards moment and get a sweet top deck as I cast Glare of Subdual. Oddly enough, one of Gemi's favorite cards in the entire game. I use 1 Sapperling to tap a Tali, but in response, Gemi casts Reclaim, placing the Glowcap Lantern on the top of his deck. Then I move into combat and attack Gemi with 5 soldier tokens, dealing him 5 damage, and then I pass. During Gemi's upkeep, fearful for a potential Krosan Grip, I tap my 2 remaining creatures to tap down both of Gemi's currently untapped creatures. He then recasts his Glowcap Lantern and equips it to a Tali. He checks his top card, then casts Arni Metalbrow, who to me looks like Neo Royal House of Pricey Cardboard if he went Super Saiyan God. Miss you so much, Neo and Davey. Let's game again soon. Anyways, then he passes. I play a Plains for my turn and cast Shaman of Forgotten Ways. I tap it with Glare Subdual's effect to tap down Arni. Then I move into combat and attack Gemi with 5 soldiers again for 5 more damage, and pass. Gemi plays Kessig Wolfrun and uses Call the Wild's effect and reveals Acidic Slime, which comes into play, and with its ETB, he destroys my Glare of Subdual. In response, I tap my 3 remaining creatures to tap down his other 3 creatures before he passes. For my turn, I move straight into combat and attack with all of my tokens. Gemi blocks and kills 1 soldier with his Acidic Slime and takes 7 damage. During my second main phase, I float 2 colors with my Shaman towards casting a creature, and then pay 4 to cast Day of Judgment to board wipe creatures. Gemi responds by casting Withstand Death to allow his Atali to do just that, while everything else is gone. Then I cast Oracle of Moldiah. I reveal my top card, which in this case is Castle Garenbrig, which I play as my first land for the turn. My next card is Sensei's Divining Top, which is the worst possible outcome before passing. For Gemi's turn, he casts Soul Ring. Then he recasts Hans. Then he moves into combat, and he stacks his triggers with his Glowcap first and Atali second. So Atali gains a counter, though Gemi forgets to add it. And our top cards turned out to be Commander's Sphere for Gemi and the top for me, which he gets to cast for free. From there, my top card revealed is Soul Ring. I declare no blocks and take 7 damage before Gemi passes. I draw my Soul Ring, and my top card is Doubling Season. I cast my copy of Soul Ring, and then use my castle to gain 6 mana, and tap out to cast my general, Farmer Cotton. X is 8 in this case, so I get to make 8 food and 8 white halfling tokens before passing. During his upkeep, Gemi uses his top to check his top 3 cards. Then after drawing, he uses Call of the Wild effect and reveals Rurik Thar the Unbowed, which goes into play, effectively shutting me off from playing non-creature spells. Then Gemi used the rest of his mana to first use his top again to check his top 3 cards. Then he uses Rogue's Passage to make Atali unblockable this turn. Then he moves into combat and attacks with it. With his triggers, first, Atali gets our top cards, which in this case are Doubling Season and Lightning Greaves, which go into play. Then, with the Caps Explore, he reveals Kadama's Reach, which he decides to place in his graveyard later, and Atali gets 2 counters thanks to the Doubling Season he just got. Then, I take 8 damage. In his second main phase, Gemi equips Rurik Thar with his Lightning Greaves and passes. For my turn, I draw my Forest and reveal my top card as Tristani's Discordant. I play my Forest for the turn, and then use Castle Garenbrig for 6 mana to cast Kamal Fist of Krosa. Then I tap my remaining 6 mana to use its effect to grant all my creatures +3/+3 and trample until the end of the turn. Then I move into combat and attack with everything. A 5/5 Oracle, and basically including my general, 9 4/4s. While Gemi can easily block Riss and my general, he'll still take a desperate but lethal 32 damage from my halfling army, ending one of the closest games we've ever played in my victory. I have played over 1,000 games of Commander in my lifetime, and aside from maybe episode 51's epic Kalia vs. Una rematch, this may be the closest game of EDH 1v1 I have ever played. This is Gemi's best deck ever, and I can't believe the card that carried him so far was none other than Glowcap Lantern. That is a must-have in any Hans deck in my opinion. As for myself, I have to give it up to a card I never thought would make MVP status, and that card is Castle Garenbrig. It is a staple in any deck that runs creatures with either a high CMC or X costs. Heck, if it wasn't for that card, I wouldn't have had enough mana to both cast Kamal and then use its Overrun ability in that same turn. Agree with our picks? Let us know in the comments. Also, if you enjoy our content, consider becoming a patron. Give you access to some sweet extras like bonus entries into our giveaways, your nickname at EDHCC Club, and so much more. Also, we're still trying to reach 2,000 subscribers, so please smash the like and subscribe buttons. It helps out a lot. Well, until next time, thank you all so much for watching. It means a lot to me. Again, happy Easter, stay warm, stay safe, and keep on card gaming. Love you all. Cheers.